Good afternoon, folks, or evening, or morning, or whatever you happen to be listening to this. But we're back with another episode of Three Men and an Anime. Huzzah!
Hooray!
Recording on a Saturday this time because,
I like the universe and everything.
yeah, 2020. Other weird shit. I actually don't really remember why we were unable to record on Tuesday. It doesn't really matter. Who fucking cares? We found another time to record, so it's all good.
I'm blaming Gav.
I had a headache.
Oh, that's right. You had a
Actually, it was Gav's fault. Never mind. I rescind my blaming of Gav and blame Peter.
Fuck. Well, all right. Anyways, we're covering Gav's most recent series selection. A new series that came out this year, which we do every now and then. Usually because Gav decides to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's something people are talking about. I'm like, ooh, I want to watch this.
Right. We're covering Appare-Ranman.
Steampunk Cannonball Run.
It is literally time for wacky races.
It really fucking is.
It's missing Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise, and that's about it.
You say missing.
Honestly, I could totally see Burt Reynolds and Don DeLuise playing the Bad Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about it, but yeah. Appare-Ranman came out this year. It is a 13-episode series, which is why we were able to get it done quickly. About a pair of Japanese dudes, a couple of dudes from Japan, who through shenanigans end up in California in sort of the 1800s.
Well,
Literal shenanigans.
Yeah,
like it's a farcical way they end up there.
It's basically post Civil War U.S. Sort of turn of the century, really. Actually, I'm thinking
turn of the century, really. It's the end of the West, the rise of things like automobiles and electricity and stuff.
Yeah. Shenanigans happen, hilarity then ensues, and a cross-country automobile race happens. I'm not that's literally the plot of the show. It's a little more complicated than that, but not by much.
Yeah, basically through farcical silliness, they end up stuck in L.A. with no way to get home.
San Francisco,
It was San Francisco. You're right. So they hear about a cross-country automobile race that will pay out like 1.5 mil.
1.5 million. There's 1.5 million in prizes.
Yeah,
which is a ridiculous amount of money for that time period.
Oh lordy, yes.
So our Appare, our titular character there, who's a bit of a tech genius and a crazy man, decides this sounds like a good idea. I will turn our crappy steamship into a crappy steam car. Only it's not crappy, it's fucking awesome, and it will win. And it does. Spoilers.
Yeah. Honestly, the result of the race is the least important plot point in the show. Honestly.
It literally is.
Like, the race itself is really important. Who actually wins doesn't fucking matter. God,
So, let's start with our characters. We have our titular guy.
Yeah, we should talk about Appare Sorno. Sorno Appare. Appare is son of a wealthy merchant family.
He's part of the upstart nouveau riche in Japan.
Yep. He is incredibly smart and has literally zero social graces.
Or desire to learn any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
You know, Iron Man 2 Tony Stark.
Less snarky than Tony, but yeah.
Less snarky, but more like he doesn't really care about the money's there. He doesn't need to worry about money. He doesn't really want to work. Well, it's not that he doesn't want to work. He just doesn't see the importance of actual work. So he just builds. That's all he's interested in.
All he's interested in is engineering and designing shit and moving technology forward.
Yes.
Yep.
Whereas his dad, who again head of the family, is demanding he actually pulls his head out of his ass and gets a real job.
Specifically, he wants Appare to take over the family business, literally.
Yes.
I mean, we don't learn what their family business is beyond their merchants.
They're merchants. That's all we know.
Because
They
that
have a
doesn't
shop,
matter to
that's,
Appare.
yeah.
Appare wants to, like, it has, like, literally a shed filled with, like, American and European tech manuals for building weird stuff, and he's building a steamship because he thinks that would be cool.
And yeah, well, he saw steamships, thought they were awesome, and wants to build one, build the best and fastest one ever. And he's a little inspired by Jules Verne, just a little
wee
bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, he
His
totes around a
ultimate
copy.
goal is to go to the moon.
He does in fact tote around a copy of From Earth to the Moon.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of, you know, it's literally a tale as old as time. It's the usual. I mean, I've been through this similar conversation with my own dad. You know, the get off your ass and get a job. Whereas from your point of view, I'm doing this thing that's really important. You don't understand it, old man. It's that sort of, you know. He's trying to escape the old world that Japan is still kind of stuck in.
Yep.
You know, it hasn't even reached the same sort of, at least in the area he's in, hasn't reached the same sort of like advancement that even like turn of the century, like, you know, US or Europe have started to see. Japan is still basically saying, we're good as we are, and he's not.
They are slowly moving out of they're officially out of the age of the samurai.
Right.
I mean, to be fair, there are places in Japan today that are not out of the way of the samurai.
I have no
other than, you know.
Yes, I'm just saying
Other than you can't
this
run
is
around with
post
swords.
this is post, you know, Commodore Perry coming in and basically saying open up or we because we have cannons.
Yeah.
And Japan going, fuck. All right, yeah, so yes, right.
So this modernization thing seems like a good idea.
Yeah. We should probably get on that.
There's only so far a really well-made sword can take us, I'm afraid.
You know, like, yes, a swordsman can take a gunman in one-on-one. A unit of swordsmen has a real trouble with an entire army of people with guns.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're ruthless enough, you can get people in range and bad things will start happening, unless people with guns also have melee weapons.
And they do.
Yeah, that's
Called a bayonet.
What? No! At any rate, that's not in part of the show, so it's really kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Other than Appare's partner in all of this, who
yes,
is a kind of a hangover from that period. Comes from a very traditional family. Is the master of a school of sword fighting. As a lot of these anime characters tend to be. It's so many schools, you know.
He's your classic he's your classic samurai from a classic samurai movie.
He really is.
He's a bit of a
He's a soft
bit of a wet noodle, and he's kind of a coward.
I wouldn't call him a coward. Is the thing.
He's regarded as such.
Yes,
because he doesn't like drawing his. He never draws his sword. He doesn't like to, you know, to fight. He's the master of the style, but he doesn't like to fight.
He's definitely more into the sport side of fencing.
Yes,
as it
and
were.
if you've ever watched a Kurosawa / you know, any Eastern action movie of that type, the second the guy says, "I don't want trouble," you know he's a fucking badass.
Except, I'll say he's a bit of a coward because he starts out being utterly terrified of authority and doing whatever someone else tells him. Like,
He's
even if he thinks it's not a great idea.
He's weak-willed. He's not as much a coward. He's just a bit of a pushover. He's soft. That's all it is.
Like this isn't a knock on the guy, especially seeing it as the show goes on, he grows out of it through character development.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think coward is a bit strong of a term for him, and that's just sort of my take on it. But
this is Ishiki Kosame, by the way.
Yes,
We haven't actually mentioned his
Ishiki
name.
Kosame. We should have gotten that earlier.
Kosame. Yeah,
Kosame
now,
is
I really like Kosame. Let me point this out.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I totally. I'm just sort of saying. I just don't. I don't know what the right word for it is, but I don't think using a single word to describe him like coward doesn't work for him. He's too nuanced a character.
Well, yeah.
Even at that point,
even at that point, yeah. Appare is more
Appare is
nuanced.
Appare is less nuanced than Kosume. I'm going to say this flat
Yeah.
out. I'm going to say this flat out. Appare is the least interesting character in the show.
I'll be honest with you, Appare.
I'm not a fan of Appare as a character, honestly.
This may stem from how Japan. I mean, we've had this discussion before about how Japan deals with, shall we say, mental issues, but Appare for me has, if not ADHD, something on the line of Asperger's or something like that.
Maybe.
Because he's almost sociopathic in his like he ignores, he doesn't seem to click that people
He
have
doesn't get
feelings around
people.
him.
It's more that it's not so much that he's sociopathic; it's that he just doesn't understand people and he doesn't understand social cues. He very well may actually just flat out be autistic. Like that would not surprise me.
Yes, that's
But I've like if and if that's there, that's great. I don't know, but the read of his character that I've seen that from what I saw of the show is he just comes off like every sort of hyper intelligent tech genius character, sort of our typical tech genius character in this style of show, and I just find him really not that interesting.
Yeah,
but that's okay because the rest of the cast exists.
The rest of the cast are amazing.
But and we should move through more of the cast. But yeah, Kosume on the other hand is like actually like a like I hadn't thought of the read of Appare as autistic, and that puts an interesting twist on him that I hadn't thought of. And like I might when I do rewatch the show, because I'm going to rewatch this show. Oh yeah, before we go further, if you want to, we'll probably hit some spoilery stuff as we go through this. If you want to know our general opinion of the show, we all liked it.
Yeah,
it was
do recommend
great
it.
fun.
So if you want to watch it without, if you want to listen to this without being spoiled by it, go watch the show first and then come back. But yeah. At any rate,
next we should probably hit the rest of Team Appare, which is
Hototo.
One last thing I will just say about Kosume is obviously like I say we've said complicated. I mean, the thing about him is, like I say, it's not that he's he is a pushover, but it's because of where he comes from. He wants a simple life. He's an uncomplicated kind of person. All he wants is to just exist, do his job, get married to his. He's got as he reveals later on, he's got a wife all lined up for him. An arranged marriage kind of situation. He looks after his daughter because his parents have passed on. His sister, sorry. He looks after his sister because his parents have passed on, and that's all he's bothered about. He does his job. He is a samurai, so he works. I suppose it's not police, but security, or that kind of thing. And like I say, as long as it's quiet and happy, he's quite happy to get to retirement and just say, "Yep, done my bit," and that's it. He's not got an adventurous bone in his body.
And yet, he is definitely. It turns out he's not someone who he actually ends up liking. He likes people is one of the things that you actually pick up on very quickly. Is he's actually just a very nice guy.
Like when they're tasked, the reason they're together is because they're tasked with.
Yeah, the local lord basically tells him, "You keep an eye on this on the Sordo kid." Why? Because he keeps getting into trouble, and I can't deal with his parents. Just
literally, we find Appare and he's been put in prison for causing a disturbance, and he's there just scrawling shit out on the floor, plans and the rest of it, and then decides, I'm bored now, I'm going to leave. And all the other prisoners are like, "What do you mean leave?" And he goes and picks a lock, gets out, locks it back behind him, like, "Hey!" And he just walks out of prison. They're like, "For fuck's sake, Appare, you cannot do this shit."
Yeah.
This is where, like I say, I started getting these cues of possible, autism and that kind of thing, because he just doesn't seem to, it doesn't register with him that he's doing anything wrong. It's just, I want to do this. I'm going to do this.
I mean, that's not necessarily that, but
it never comes across as selfish, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know.
It's never an arrogant sort of, I'm doing this because I want to do this. It's like, no, I'm going to do this because I want to.
It is time for me to do X. But at any rate, the big thing is that he's in prison because one of his steam engines blew up the local lord's garden.
As you do.
And
Kosame and a bunch of other samurai are basically sent to drag him back and bring him in. And
Kosame's first sent to go pick him up from jail and keep an eye on him. Then it turns out Appare escaped. The local lord's like, fuck it, okay, arrest the kid. I can't have that. And Kosume's like, fuck. If I can get to him first, maybe I can keep him from getting killed because that would suck for his parents and that would be terrible. And oh god, what's going on? Oh my god, he's a lunatic.
The other samurai are there with maybe not to kill him, but they're definitely going to work him over by the way they're talking.
Oh, he has broken out of the Lord's prison. He is almost certainly going to be executed.
Yep.
Like that's.
And Kosume is doing his damnedest to like, no, it's okay. I'll take him. It'll be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. We don't need to kill him.
Yep.
And that's just Kosume. It's like, just
he didn't do it out of maliciousness. He was just got bored and left.
Right.
As you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kosume is doing his best to de-escalate and. Which is something he does a lot. He doesn't usually succeed because most of the time when he's trying to de-escalate, the people involved have no interest in de-escalation.
Like I say, that's the thing. He doesn't want trouble. That's it.
No, not at all. But yeah, so Appare is basically testing his new steamship, and let's just say that due to shenanigans, the turbo boost gets turned on early, and they end up deep in the sea with a broken engine.
We should point out that is in fact a steam engine with a turbo boost.
Yes.
How does this work? We don't know. Appare knows. We don't.
It will never come up again.
Nope, never whatsoever. But yeah, fortunately, they are picked up by a steamship that's going to the U.S.
The one scene of that, the one part of that entire scene that I always liked though is, again, we've just had this episode where Appare is in his his own country, surrounded by his family and the people he grew up with, and not a single one of them understands him, cares what he's doing, has any interest in any of his ideas or even anything that he wants to do. They're just basically browbeating him into falling in line and getting back in with, be a good boy and now you're a man now, come and take over the family business and work and do what we've always done. And then you get this scene on the steamship where Appare, because of what he does, the way he is, he just walks straight into the we assume he's walked into the bridge of the ship, and he's started talking to the captain to explain things, started talking to the engineers, and then starts writing out plans and this and learning. And you get this scene of Appare over a desk, like drawing out blueprints and diagrams, and all the engineers of the ship are just like stood around him watching him going, okay, I see what you're doing. Yeah, okay, well try that. Meanwhile, Kosume is outside scrubbing the deck, and he's like, "What? Well, how come he doesn't get to work?" And they're like, "Get the fuck outside and carry on. Carry on doing what you're doing." They've got him swabbing the deck to earn his ride, and he thinks, and this is the thing, this is the mindset. He thinks Appare isn't working. It's like, no, he is. He's surrounded by the engineers of the ship doing their job. And it's so foreign a concept and an alien concept to Kosume. Like I said, no one ever got him until he left Japan.
Yep. That's definitely true.
And you could just see like the throughout the show, as whenever anybody with a mechanical mind or anybody with any sort of engineering or anything like that, Appare has a definite connection with those kind of people a lot more than people who just have no interest in that. He literally ignores them. They may as well not exist.
As a general rule, yes. Especially at first. That does change over the course of the show. Appare does open up over the course of the show. He's a much more interesting character by the end than he's a much more developed character by the end than he is at the start. There's no
at the end.
which is a sign that the show actually is writing characters and doing development, which is a good thing. Appare does change because people change.
Yes.
Well, usually they often change. I should say not everyone does.
So then we've got Hototo, the Native American kid that ends up tagging along with them. So Hototo is literally maybe 10 or 12.
Yeah, it's hard to judge. He is a kid though. That's the important bit is he is a child.
And he looks like a JoJo's character.
Kinda. Yeah.
And
I mean, the characters design in the show are not
subtle.
a lot of them are not period accurate, let's just say that. Like for
And-
every Kosame and some of the American some of the Americans and such in the show, and most of the people in Japan, most of the background characters, I should say. For every one of them, you've got someone like Appare, who is technically Japanese, wearing Japanese clothing and outfitting, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
And Hototo is technically, you know where the idea for Hototo's character design came from. And then there's the
fucking TJ.
Yeah, we'll get to TJ.
We'll get to TJ. TJ's my favorite.
I understand why TJ's your favorite. He is among my favorites, but he's not my favorite. We've already talked about my favorite.
Yes. And Hototo's whole big deal is he's looking for the man. He's got your classic adventurer, D&D adventurer backstory. Someone killed his father, and he's out to get revenge and to stop him from ever committing such a crime again.
Yeah, some bad guys basically ruined his village, drove them off their land and killed his dad and a lot of his tribe. And so now he's come looking for the people who are responsible for that. And turns out they've got some sort of tattoo thing of a snake.
They've got a tattoo of a snake on the back of their neck.
And he will never find these people. Nope, not at all.
Not at all. And Hototo sort of Hototo and Kosame sort of mutually attach themselves to each other.
Yes.
They've got very much the best frenemies thing going on.
Oh yeah. Well, Kosame sees it's he immediately sees through a lot of Hototo's sort of BS and realizes this is a hurt kid who's actually a good person. I'm going to take care of him because that's the sort of person I am.
Right.
And Hototo has no interest in being treated like a kid because no, I'm not a kid. I'm out for revenge. I'm a man.
That's the thing. It's on top of the fact that he's trying to gain revenge for his. He's also in that age where I am not a child. It's like you're in single digits, kid. You are a child, or or however old he is. It's like he's clearly a kid. He resents being called a kid.
Yeah, and he thinks
the thing is, it's pretty clear that as much as he outwardly resents Kosame's fathering of him, he actually really appreciates.
Oh yeah, no, it's very very clear. It's you're not my dad.
You're not my real dad.
Also, he for a while really does. He considers Kosame. It's very clear he appreciates Kosame's wanting to take care of him, but he also thinks Kosame is weak because he is.
Because Kosame will do everything he can to prevent a fight.
Right, and it's also very clear Kosame suffers badly from combat paralysis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there are a couple of times where he gets in situations where he could draw his sword, and just physically he can't make himself do it.
Yep.
Which is you realize that this if he could, it'd be really dangerous because we see scenes the things the way they first earn money in San Francisco is they see a guy basically doing a boxer doing this if you can
hit me, you get the pot. The buy-in is $1.
Right. And so Opera looks and says, "Hey Kosame, you think you could do that?" And Kosame's like, "Yeah, no problem." So he does the same thing except he basically has a boken basically basically has a stick and gives the opponent a boken type thing. And basically, if you can hit me with your stick, then you win the pot. If you don't, then the money stays in the pot. And he just clowns everybody until the boxer comes up and is like, "Okay, yep, all right, can I get in?" Kosame's like, "Yeah, sure. Here's the stick." He's like, "I'm not going to need the stick." He really didn't. He didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pro boxer couldn't get to him.
Yeah.
Kosame's actually really good. When he says he's a master swordsman, he's not joking.
Yeah. I mean, he's like I say, when he say he's part of a school, it's like he's master of that school.
Yep.
He has students. He teaches his particular style. He just doesn't like drawing his blade. I mean, even that bit we mentioned when he's sent out after Appare, he is like really apprehensive looking at the katana on the stand. He doesn't want to take it, but it's, well, I kind of have to.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't relish the thought of hurting people. Period.
Mhm.
And B, as I said, he does suffer. Like, there is a reason he has trouble drawing the sword, even when he really knows he should. It's because basically he suffered childhood trauma. His mother was literally murdered in front of him by somebody with a katana. It's like, okay, yeah,
Which doesn't come up. Doesn't come up very often.
no,
We see a couple flashbacks here and there.
yep.
And one of Hototo's thing is you can't understand what it's like to see your family murdered in front of you.
And Kosume's like,
Kosume's like, I'm not gonna play one-upmanship. I'm just gonna let you be upset. I understand what it's like.
yeah, because again, Kosume's a really good dude.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, like, Kojiro finds out, is like, oh shit.
Well, Kosume actually tells him
Yeah.
at that point, is like, listen, like, this whole vengeance thing isn't going to help you. It's not going to get you the closure you want. And Hototo just doesn't believe him, and eventually it comes out. Eventually he does tell them after the appointed vengeance happens. He's like, I lost my mom to a similar situation. I'm sorry. Did it help? Not as much as I thought it did. Yeah. Listen to me.
Now, it's not that Kosume has got vengeance on the dude who killed his mom, because he didn't, because that's not the sort of guy he is. But it's like, yeah, you don't, like, it's like the pain never goes away completely, but like it becomes easier to deal with. This is also after Kosume got through it himself, also, because that happened during the whole same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hototo basically, they help Hototo out, and Hototo hangs around and eventually agrees to become, once they enter the race thing, the race becomes a thing. Basically, Appare convinces him to be their guide, because Hototo actually knows the terrain and can hunt and fish and stuff like that, and like be really useful. And one might ask, if there's this 3-person race team, what is Kosume's actual job? Team mom.
Yeah,
Basically,
pretty much.
Yeah.
He cooks, he cleans. Oh, and eventually he kicks ass for them. Much later. They also meet. That's Team Appare.
That's Team Appare. Those are our 3 main characters.
Yep. There's one other sort of pseudo main character who's not on the team. Zhenlin is almost a main character.
Zhenling is almost on like a main character, but she's not on the team, so she's got her own team.
Yeah. Literally, if she didn't have her own team, she'd probably be on the team.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Zhenlin is
So Zhenling's a Chinese immigrant whose family runs a laundry. Go figure. But she works in the pits at the local racetrack.
Yep.
And she really wants to race cars, but she's a woman, so she's not allowed to. Doesn't stop her from like sneaking in after hours and taking the cars for a spin, where it turns out she's really fucking good.
She's probably the best driver in the show.
She's absolutely the best driver in the show.
Yeah. Like, give her one of the big name cars, she would have won the race. Like, there's no question in my mind about that. It's like, yeah. Oh, huh.
This is actually how Team Appare meets her. They find out that there's a racetrack. They watch the racetrack. Appare decides he's going to break in and look at the cars. He's not going to fuck with them. He just wants to look at them and see how they're built and what their engines do.
And they're not going to let him in during the day, so...
Yeah.
This isn't even specifically to do with the race. This is just a case of Appare finds out that they race cars and he wants to know how they work.
Yeah.
These car things seem really neat and interesting. I need to study them.
And they find her tooling around the track. She accidentally
Appare wanders onto the track.
Yeah, she accidentally damages the track, avoiding hitting. I think it's
Appare.
Is it Appare? It is Appare.
Appare wanders on the track because Appare is Appare.
Yes.
It's because she's racing at night, so she's set up lanterns so she can see the course. And
Right.
Appare is like, oh, that's it. I haven't seen that kind of lantern before. It just walks out into the
No,
track
he needs the light to get better look at the engine.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
And she swerves to avoid him and damages the car, and she's, freaking out because she's not supposed to be doing this. It means she's going to get fired.
And Appare-Ranman's like, yeah, I'll just fix it. Not a big deal. It's not hard. In fact, Jesus Christ, your guys' fuel mixture is completely off. Here, let me fix your fuel pump. What do you know about fuel pumps? A lot now.
Well, this is the thing. When after they've met, like she's like absolutely gutted. She's like, yeah, she doesn't believe a word out of his mouth and leaves. And look, you know what? I'm fired. I don't care. I'm going. Just try and at least lock up after yourselves, and I'll deal with
she's
this
not.
tomorrow.
She's like upset that that's happened, but like she knows she shouldn't have been out there. Is part of it.
Yeah. And when she gets into the next day, she goes to the pit boss and says, "Look, I'm sorry. I was racing number 4 last night. I had a spin out, and I apologize for the damage." It's like, yeah,
What?
funny funny joke. Funny joke. We know you're not going to be out there racing. You can't. But besides, I don't know what you're talking about. Number 4's running fine. In fact, it's better than fine. It just set a lap record. And she's like, wait, what?
Huh? He wasn't full of shit.
One thing I will mention, and I brought this up with you two, and I know it's kind of an odd subject. Well, not an odd subject, but a subject that I think the show handles pretty well is, so far as we've gone through the cast, we have 2 Japanese guys, a Chinese immigrant girl, and a Native American child.
Yep.
In turn of the century, San Francisco.
Yep.
Things do come up every now and again.
They do. They do not shy away from the fact that there is a lot of racism and sexism going on.
Mm-hmm.
But they also don't
They don't beat you over the head with it. It's something they could easily have just utterly ignored. It would have been fine because of the tone of the show. But no, they point out like some people are sexist, racist cockwagons. And
I mean, the thing with it is like they do ignore the point that the language barrier. There is no language barrier in this show.
Yes.
Which I can understand for Appare, like you said yourselves. He's been reading American and European manuals on how to build cars and all that kind of stuff. He's probably picked up a little bit of English, but Gosame hasn't. But there's no problem with anyone communicating in the show. But they make a point to bring those kind of situations up all the time. Like Jing gets ridiculed over her gender a good chunk of the show, especially when she's showing any interest towards cars whatsoever. Like one of her big moments in the early part of the show, at the very least, is literally shafting the big douche nozzle that's silly little girl trying to race cars, bullshit. And like I say, it's they make a point to actually bring it up, but once again, they don't beat you over the head with it. They just say, look, it's a sign of the times. This is shit that happens. This is how it got dealt with.
Yep. And
it doesn't beat you over the head with it, but it doesn't ignore it either.
Yeah, right.
Yes, yeah.
It's just a part of the world.
They strike a good balance for the style of show it is.
Yes.
If the show had been different stylistically, they would have been perfectly justified in being more heavy-handed with it. But for the style of show it is, it makes sense.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is long and short of it. I would agree with that. So yeah, she gets into a race. Basically, she has a race to prove that she can race, but she knows it's gonna be the last thing she does with the team, etc. And against the team's actual driver, who is, as Eric pointed out, a complete dick waffle. God, he's an ass.
Yeah,
he's every misogynistic dude bro you've ever seen. He's that rich frat bro that just causes nothing but trouble, and everyone gloms onto because he's a rich frat bro, but no one actually likes.
He's quite literally, alpha cockwagon. That may as well be his name.
Yeah, he's a good driver, and so they have a race. She's in she is allowed. They basically the team boss is like, okay, I can't give you one of the actual racers. You get number 0. If you can get it fixed and running, great. He's like, I would. It's like he very clearly says, I can't afford to give you one of our actual racers.
Yeah,
because there are actual racers.
Yeah, and
this is a racing team, so
this is a business. We can't risk losing important resources because you're looking to put this guy in his place.
He also says, because of that, and my guys are doing their job, so no, you can't use my pit crew to try and fix Zero either. And take into account, Zero is the kind of thing she takes it outside to try and get it to bring it to Appare to get him to give it a once over.
She has to
and
push it half the way.
It breaks down on the way.
Yeah. So she comes and asks Appare if he'll do a favor for her to help her fix this. And this is after Appare decided to enter the race, the big race that's been announced.
Yeah.
And Appare like, yeah, is working on his car, and she's like, could you do me a favor? And he's like, what? Fix number 0. He's like, this is after they've had a big moment of basically, Appare explaining, why he's entering the race, and and his sort of view on like, going where you want to go and doing things, which basically inspires her to actually try to move past like, the limitations other people are putting on her, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's, like, part of it, like, her thing is like, she's accepting the limits other people are putting on. Like, she's not trying to become a racer, really, because while she wants to, she's accepted that no one will let her. And Appara's basically convinced her, told her, like, look, prove them wrong, basically, which is what she's trying to do here. And she knows that even if she succeeds, she might not be able to do it, but she'll at least proven her point. Because, she wants the race. And so, yeah, Appara's like, yeah, fine, I'll fix the car. He agrees to help because she's become a friend.
Yeah.
Well, technically, he doesn't. What he does, he says, okay, but I know someone. And this links into another character that's already been introduced at this point in the story, but we haven't talked about yet, which is Al.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, great, Al.
Because as part of this whole race, we've already been introduced to a number of the other races because it's being sponsored by a corporation known as, or a conglomerate known as BIG, which is the initials of basically the 3 big motor companies in the world.
BMW.
BMW, yeah, BMW, Generous Motors, and I can't remember, the Iron Motors or something like that.
Yeah.
And basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to prove the worth of automobiles. They're trying to say that, the age of the train is over. Cars, this is what cars can do. Cross-country kind of situation rather than just puttering around towns. And that's the whole shtick of it. So, people from all over the world are coming towards this. And Al Leon is, I think he's the son of the head of BMW.
Yep.
French rather than German, so, a little bit of leeway. And we meet him because his team basically buy the dockyard. They rent out the warehouses that Appare have been staying in. The guy that the captain that picked them up basically owned a number of warehouses on the dock front as well. And he says, "Yeah, go on then. Since you're such a good engineer and you can help us out every now and again, we'll let you stay there rent free
until someone comes along to rent it out, basically."
Yeah, because it's standing there empty anyway. Sure, go for it. And then Al comes along and says, "I'm going to rent all these. I need all the space." And he's typical, like, foppish rich kid kind of thing initially when he comes off, and it's like, yeah, he wants all the space because he wants a track for his exercise, and he doesn't need the space. He just wants it because.
Well, he's not positive how much space he might possibly need eventually, so why not rent all of it?
Yeah, and there's a bit we can discuss if you'd like, but basically they end up being friendly enough where
basically Appare basically challenges him to a race to over the warehouse, basically.
Yeah, with his while showing off his fucking
his wind up Segway, yeah.
Appare invented the Segway in the 1900s.
Yeah.
I was like, I want that. What is it? I want it. Can I have a go? No.
Tell you what, if I win the race, I get it. Well, actually, it's the other way around. Appare's like, look, we'll have the race. If I win, I get the warehouse, and if you win, you get this thing. And I was like, deal. I'll even throw in my, like, it even comes like his car is involved in the bet too.
Yeah.
So they had the race, and shock of shocks, guess who wins? we're not going to spoil any details of the race because
No.
it's amazing.
It's amazing. There's no small amount of science involved.
Oh yeah.
You
But-
have to shake your fist when you say that, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But the gist of it is, I mean, they get the warehouse so they can keep their space. They get Al's car, which turns out to be a spare trial car anyway. But it's enough for Appare to have a look at a combustion engine and start getting ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Appare gives him the Segway anyway because you know what? Fine, I can make like 30 of them.
I'm done with this. I don't need it anymore. It's all
Bored
yours.
now. You clearly want this, and I like you here.
Yeah, and it gives him enough of a working relationship where when Jing brings over the car, the Zero, he takes it over to BMW and says, "Here, can you guys sort this out?" And they give it a service and get it up and running. And Gosame is like, "Why are you guys so like eager to help?" And he's like, "Well, we get to look at a rival team's car." Good point.
Yeah. A, you know,
This is
she's.
mutual- this is
It
mutually
doesn't cost
beneficial.
us much, and B, we get to look at a rival team's car. That's kind of awesome. So yeah, Jing goes out, has the race, and it's very clear she's going to win when Dirty Pool happens.
Yeah.
And Dirty Pool of the sort that would probably get the driver thrown off of his team.
It is a great scene, to be honest. Like he pulls bullshit because she has absolutely, and even the race, you know, the boss of the team is like, she has absolutely raced him out of his boots.
Yes, it's
He-
like yes,
he
her
has-
car is
he
not as
cannot-
fast, and and it's not as good and such. But she is driving a perfect race, and she is going to clown him at the end.
Yeah, she's been sat in second, drafting off of him this entire race, making him work to keep her behind him. His tires are fucked. He's been using more fuel because she's just been riding in his slipstream, and as soon as it gets around to that last couple of corners, she's going to overtake him. She's going to win him. That's yeah, and he knows that too because he gets desperate and takes her out, and like she spins out, almost hits a wall, but manages to get back control and brings it to a stop. Jumps out the car and just stomps over towards him while he's gloating. And this is the thing, no one is gloating with him. He's like, "Look at me, guys! See, I told you I was going to win, silly little girl." And before she can throw a punch, the pit boss just absolutely decks him.
Yeah,
And he's like, "If you pulled that shit in any other circumstances, you would be fucking fired." Like, that is not cool. And like I said, no one is supporting him.
Yeah.
He knows what he's done. And that is like, no, fuck you. Get out of my sight before I actually do fire you. And he turns to Jing and he's like, "You know what? Any less of a driver would have hit the brakes and tried to stop out of that spin. Instead, you actually put on the gas and got control of the car. That's actual real racer move."
it's like, yeah, I know you're a legit racer. I know you're a legit racer, and like, I would love to be able to give you a car to race in this, but I can't.
The thing is,
And he explains it in perfect. It's like, he's like, the crowds are sexist. If I race a woman, we won't get the draw. It's like, I would love to, like, so what I'm gonna do is what you should do is enter the big race, take Zero, and if anyone wants to help you, that's great. I'm okay with that. And go fucking prove that you deserve to be out here. You will
And
change
the entire
opinion
pit
that way.
crew's like, "Yeah, we're on board. We are going to make this the most kick-ass car that we can." And it turns out to be a fairly kick-ass car, if conventional compared to some of the others.
Yes.
and that's the thing. Is like it's just such a. It's like from a business standpoint, you completely understand it. It's like, yeah, I can't race a woman. People would laugh and they would not come to our stadium. They would not, we'd be a sideshow. It's just the times that we live in.
So we need.
But
So
if you-
what I'm going to do is you go prove that women belong on the track, and there'll be a spot waiting for you when you come back. Go kick ass, kid.
Yeah.
Because I know you
up to
will.
Because up to that point, she'd also been mentioning this big race, and he said, "Look, I can't afford to get involved in that. We've no, real dog in the race. I don't have a spare driver that I could risk anyway." He gives all these excuses and not interested. And this race, her performance turns him around and says, "Go on then, we'll do it."
He's like, well, I can spare Zero, and you're a better driver than he is, so go. So she's in the race now. We are also introduced along the way, when we're introduced to Hototo, we're also introduced to Dylan.
Yep.
Who is the guy who's driving for GM, who's totally not General Motors, it's something else, and it doesn't...
Generous
Motors, yeah, they totally, totally. Yeah, Dylan is he's a gunslinger. He's a former outlaw. Well, he's actually still technically an outlaw. There's still a bounty on his head.
He's one of the 1,003.
Which was a large number at one point, but there are very few of them left. There are now 3 of them left.
I think 1,007 was the.
It might have been. It's not that important how many there were. There are now 3.
It's an outlaw gang. They literally, it's like 1,000 and however many are alive at this moment in time.
Yes.
Currently, it's 3.
Not all of them were actually in the same gang. They were all affiliate. They knew each other.
They knew each other, and they were they're generally considered to be the most scary badasses in America.
Yes. Dylan and one of the other ones were somewhat friendly at one point and aren't anymore for various reasons.
So Dylan's very much your classic, like, I'm my own man. I work alone. I'm a badass bounty. I'm a badass gunslinger.
He is straight out of Outlaw Star / Cowboy Bebop / that sort of like stylistic.
Yeah, he's a Western outlaw who's also a race car driver.
Yeah. He's a Clint Eastwood character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's
a Clint Eastwood character, but a bit prettier, because anime.
Yep. And also, he is your outlaw with a very, very well hidden heart of gold.
Yes.
He's
a chocolate-covered bastard with where the bastard also happens to be hiding another bastard, which is also happened to hiding a really nice guy.
Yes, it's a heart of gold.
There's several layers of bastard to get through.
Yeah, it's a heart of gold. There's a very, very heavy patina on that gold. Gold doesn't tarnish, but it does develop a nasty patina sometimes. And as Eric said, he's buried in several levels of outright bastard. He actually is one who identifies the tattoo mark for TJ. And he's like, for TJ, for Hototo, and he's like, dude, no, kid, no.
No,
that is.
It's literally the Western thing. Is like, give it up, kid. You're just gonna end up dead. It's kind of.
That tattoo, it's a mark of the henchman of Gil the Butcher. You don't want to fuck with Gil the Butcher or his henchman. He didn't earn that name by being really good at cutting meat.
Yeah. He's one of the 1,003, and he's a scary motherfucker. I don't fuck with him if I can avoid it. So yeah. And this doesn't dissuade Hototo because he's like 10.
He's like 10, and he's like, fuck you, I can take any man, grr.
And Dylan's like, okay, I warned you.
I did what I could, kid.
We're also shortly thereafter there's a big party that they have to go to. The pit crew actually gets Jeanlin a dress for it, and dear Lord, they actually
she's a
like
knockout.
It's a really well drawn dress, and she's a gorgeous woman.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's basically the top that she's wearing there in the picture, just like extended all the way down.
Yeah, it's a red evening gown with sort of vague Chinese styling on it. It looks really cool. Is the thing. Like it's not just like she's hot. It's like no, that just looks really cool. It is really well done. Neat. Yeah. She fits in very well. Kosume and Appare not so much.
I mean, to be fair,
they don't want to let them in because they're not dressed properly.
Right.
And then TJ shows up.
Well, my favorite bit is like they're like, you got to be wearing formal wear. And Kosume's like, I actually am wearing formal wear. And it's like, yeah, but not from here. Oh. Then TJ rocks up.
TJ is the best character. I love
his bright red car with lipstick. The car has lipstick.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but that car is the compact pussycat.
It really is.
It is. It is. And he steps out in all of TJ's glory with his boombox that's playing a vinyl record. I love that thing.
Yes.
I love that thing to
TJ
death.
TJ walks up wearing a ragged green naval shirt with naval coat with epaulets.
TJ is if they did Pirates of the Caribbean, the Western.
TJ is if they did Pirates of the Caribbean, but they decided to have George Clinton be Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
Honestly, it really is. What if? Oh God, hang on. What if Pirates of the Caribbean was drawn by hang on a second. I'm blanking.
The guy who does JoJo.
Yeah, I need to look this up. Yeah, right. Yes. So what if Iraqi actually did the costume designs for Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
And he was actually this was actually a cowboy instead.
Like the dude's like he's
A
got
black
at least
cowboy.
he's got at least 5 holsters that we can see.
Yep.
He wears spurs, yet drives a car.
Yep. He's got the most one
He's
of the most
got a headband pulled, a tie-dye headband pulled down over his eyes with, for some reason, goggles that look like corianders over it.
Yeah.
Yes.
The noose around it, the cut off noose around his neck.
For a bowler tie, yes, instead of a bowler tie. Yeah, he's TJ is a gloriously over-designed character.
He gets out of the car with a fucking wind-up boombox playing a vinyl record.
Yep, I love it.
Playing some sort of hip-hop funk fusion. Which is completely out of place, but doesn't matter because it's fucking TJ.
Yeah, in the turn of the century, he's invented funk.
So he walks in, finds out this party, and says, "I can go in, right?" And the guy who's blocking Kosame is like, "Yeah, because I'm not fucking with TJ."
Because I'm not fucking with TJ, he's one of the 1,003.
At which point, Appare-Ranman Kosame are like, "Well, if he can go in, fine." Takes off his tie. Hands the tie. Wear this tie. Hands it to Kosame. Kosame's like, okay.
Okay.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, he's going on about the saying, you need formal wear, and Kosame looks at his kimono. He's like, this is my formal wear. It's literally my uniform, my best tuxedo, my everything.
The brief exchange between TJ and Appare is also great. Where TJ looks at Appare and goes, "You've got some wild hair there, brother." And Appare looks at him and goes, "Your hair looks like it exploded." And everyone's silent.
And
TJ goes, "That's awesome. That's a great way.
We are going to be friends."
See, this is the thing. TJ he comes across as what is like the wanting to be the cold-hearted badass, and to a degree he is. But he also hits the trope where it's like no one dare speak to him, so he just plays the part and intimidates everyone anyway. So fine, I'll just be a dick and get my own way. Until somebody because he's a fucking protagonist like Appare is, he doesn't give a shit and just talks to him like a person. He's like, "I like you."
Oh, TJ is a gigantic goofball. Is the thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he doesn't actually hide it. It's just he's also such a scary badass that no one actually acknowledges that he's a giant goofball.
Yeah. It's like this whole reputation has painted him so vividly that no one will give him the time of day. Like everyone's terrified of him, so he plays the part.
Yeah, he is considered a wild card loose cannon amongst the 1,003. That is a terrifying concept.
The man is a rolling ball of chaotic energy, and I love him.
Oh yeah, he's great. He is one of the most wildly entertaining characters in the show. Love him. So yeah, the party happens, etc. They basically are announcing the race.
The last racer walks in, who turns out to be Gil the Butcher.
Well, no. Before that, we are also briefly introduced to Richard Reisman, who is
yes.
Not a very sort of unassuming guy with a car with a very distinctive voice actor.
He's got a couple scars, which is never brought up. But clearly, he's been racing a long time, so he probably got them in an accident.
He seems like he seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's sort of a sweet, soft-spoken, polite guy, and has sort of a perpetual squint and a bit of a sad smile to him.
Yep, and in stomps Gil the Butcher, Gil T Cigar.
Yep,
and his right hand man Chase the Bad.
Yeah, so this dude is just this towering
he's this towering brute. in this brightly colored like
Yeah, it's
Mexican
poncho,
style
yeah.
poncho and a sombrero with like a like it's like someone took the best design elements of Lord Humongous's battered hockey mask and Morton Joe's toothy gas mask, weld them together and then put them on his face.
Yeah.
Like he's even got like the like he's got like a vent sort of situation going on, like not a vent,
Rebreather.
yeah, like a like a wheel vent sort of thing, like on his chest. It's like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
You know, this huge, like he's just
with
this
a
huge
carpet of dreads coming out from underneath the sombrero.
Yeah.
Like,
but he's also this like really huge, like stoic kind of like doesn't
Never
say
says a goddamn
word.
thing.
never says a word.
Chase does all the talking for him, and it's
He
like
just looms over every situation he's in.
yeah.
By the way, Eric adored his character. Eric and I both I think we all adored his character design. I think Eric was especially fond of it. But
Yes.
I love his character design. It's great.
It's an amazing character design. Like, as much as I love TJ, like as far as raw character design, Gil gets it. Gil steals the prize.
I would between those, yeah.
The Mad Max Bandito just wins. I'm sorry.
He has though. They definitely are the two most interesting designs in the character designs in the show. I would agree with that. With Appare in a close third, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like Appare's design, fucking like down to his like monocle goggle. Like,
yes.
God, I love that thing. Like the character designs in the show are real fucking strong. Like I would say Dylan's probably the weakest looking character design, and he's still kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And like it's
well,
like
Dylan, it's not that he's a weak design. It's just that he's
I said weakest.
yeah he's par for the course.
It's like yeah, Gil, you've got a character design. Like Kosume stands out because he looks so goddamn normal compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Zhongling stands up because, she's a chick.
Yeah.
And also, dear Lord, she's just awesome.
Zhangling is probably my favorite character in this.
I totally understand. Zhongling, she's amazing.
Yes,
she's pretty great.
Absolutely takes no shit from anyone.
No.
And it's amazing.
Oh, by the way, we didn't mention, she's a brilliant restaurateur. She's also a kung fu mistress. Like,
Her dad was a kung fu master who moved when who left China and moved to the US and opened a laundry.
Yes,
but,
and yes, he taught her kung
every
fu
day of her life.
because this is a hard world, and therefore you need to be able to defend yourself.
Yeah, and put it this way: you want to know how good she is? It's like her dad is the master that taught her, and before she would be allowed to go on this race because he was vastly disappointed that she wasn't going to hang around and would try and leave. He said, okay, you can leave and do this if you can beat me. She whooped him.
Yes.
It's not even shown on screen. Oh my god. Literally, she is basically tied for the best hand-to-hand fighter in the group of all the characters.
Yeah. I legitimately, when this show finished, there's a scene later on, and you know exactly which one I'm talking about, where after that scene, I was like, I need her to have her own show.
Yes.
I want Kung Fu remade with Jing Xiaolin as the lead.
Yes. Yep. I want to see her adventures as she wanders the Wild West, kicking ass in the name of goodness.
Yes.
And her kick-ass car.
Yes.
So there's a literal brawl for pole position at the party.
With lots of varying different contests, because it's not just fighting.
Yeah, again, this is one of the things that made me love her. It's like they don't really say that what the challenges are going to be, or the duels or anything like that.
It just happen spontaneously.
Yeah, Dylan and TJ do have a gun duel. They start drawing guns on each other.
It's a anime kung fu gunfight, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Yes,
but Kosume and Al end up having a contest where they're cutting cucumbers. Who can cut or carrots or whatever it is? Who can chop the most fastest?
Because Al's a swordsman also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Al's a fencer. He's got a a rapier.
We did kind of
And-
gloss over Al, but yeah, he's yeah.
Al's the rich kid. Al's the rich guy who's like the sign of a rich family, and he's a nice guy, but he's totally that rich kid.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he's got his traveling companion secretary,
Sophia.
Sophia is
Sophia
awesome.
As much as I love Xialing, Sophia is best girl in this show because she drinks TJ under the table.
Yeah, so Sophia is she comes across as Al's sister, but it turns out she's actually the daughter of his nanny.
Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, she's staff. You know, she's like, she's grown up along him, but essentially now she's fallen into the role of his chaperone because she's a couple of years older.
As far as Al's concerned, she's his big sister. Like
Yeah.
it's really clear. It's like, hey, she's not help, she's family.
Yeah, but yeah, so
But
TJ
she's like, no, I'm help.
TJ challenges to a drinking contest.
No, he
It's
challenged.
like,
Al
He
challenges.
Al
Al
to a drinking contest.
Al challenges TJ.
Al challenges TJ. TJ goes under after one shot of tequila.
No, Al goes under
Yeah,
one shot
Al.
of tequila.
Because he's a wine drinker. He's French.
Al goes under after one shot of tequila. Sophia then challenges TJ. TJ's like, I haven't even had my first shot yet. Sure, let's go for it. They cut away. TJ literally falling down under the table. Pull back. We see Sophia
She's absolutely fine.
with
She's
her
like, "What?"
shot of tequila. There are stacks and stacks of
Like,
empty liquor bottles around her.
TJ doesn't go down easy. It's just that
She's
Sophia
like,
is completely
"Are you
unaffected by the about gallon of tequila she's drunk at this point.
She's
She
literally
finishes
like, "What are you
it, grabs the bottle, drags Al out the door.
Yeah, she's like, oh, are you done so quickly? I mean, is this it? Okay, fine. Well, I guess we're leaving now. Takes the bottle. And it's like, yeah, son, she ain't no rich girl. She's staff. She knows how to drink.
She can drink tequila like it's water. Okay.
Again,
Girl after my own heart.
going back to this duel that's broken out over the pole position. Again, one of the also rans, because we've got the main guys, but the race is also filled with a couple of
Fodder.
extras.
They're fodder. They're
Fodder,
background
yeah.
fodder.
And literally he walks up, and apparently it's they've at some point one group have decided we're going to fight. Literally have bouts to decide, and it's this one big dude versus Jing, and he's like, "Oh, go on then, little girl. I'll give you the first shot," and opens up his chin. I'm like, "Oh, dude, no! What are you doing?"
Boot to the head.
Boot to the head. Goodbye.
Oh. But yeah, Kosume actually completely clowns Al in the vegetable slicing.
Yep.
It's like you're watching it, Kosume, you're like, holy shit, he's fast.
Well, I mean, they have a bit later on as well between the two where Al asks Kosume if he wants to spar for a little bit, and he's like, "Okay, cool." And he still uses his boken rather than his actual blade, but yeah, he's sparring with Al, and Al beats him, and Sophia's like, "Huh, I thought it was a lot stronger," and Al's like, "Yeah, he is."
Oh no, he is.
He was being polite.
Al's like, "I can't tell how strong he is."
It's like he maybe gets serious, and I'm not sure how strong he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get fully serious, but I had to try a bit, and that was him being like, that was him being polite. I don't know what he is yet, but he is strong. That is definitive. It turns out. Yeah, so the race begins. There's lots. It's largely wacky races with stops in between where stuff happens in the towns between things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Gil the Butcher and his crew arrange to block off the canyon they're gonna have to drive through in true Dick Dastardly fashion. Like,
yes,
oh my god,
Dick Dastardly fashion.
Yeah.
And Hoto overhears and is trying to tries to because he's gone in to try to take them out because they're the guys who beat his parents, and they capture him because it's early in the thing, and they basically said, yeah, we're just gonna put you in this box and drop you by the explosion, so you'll blow up with it. They drop him off in the middle of the desert somewhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the explosives.
It's literally the road back into town.
Yeah,
that's how Kosume finds him.
Yeah, and we're like, that was the first moment we're all like, hey, wait a minute.
Maybe these guys aren't as
like, that doesn't
bad
seem
as
like a
we
Gil the
think.
Butcher sort of thing to do. Like, maybe Gil the Butcher is wait, they're not. That's not Gil the. Oh, he's not Gil the Butcher. I wonder who is. It couldn't possibly be that very polite, nice guy in the red car.
Well, there's a couple
With
of times where you
who's
see...
voiced by the guy who's played nothing but some of our favorite villains recently.
Yeah.
I just want to take a moment to talk about not Gil the Butcher's car.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
Gil the Butcher's car is the best car
Batmobile.
in the show. It's this giant, like,
You mean the Orc battle
almost
wagon?
orcified battle wagon. It's got a turret with a Gatling gun on it. It's got these giant iron forward wheels with spikes on them. It's got a ramming plate. It's amazing. It just towers over all the other cars.
It really should be in Death Race 2000, not the show.
Yes.
It's kind of like a weird steam engine looking kind of thing with the huge front wheels.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, somehow operates as a car. Obviously, it's not the quickest of machines.
No, but it makes up for it by simply just going through obstacles.
Yes.
Yes, literally. Like as they're leaving San Francisco, everyone's weaving in and around the corners to get to the exit road, and it plows through a building.
Yep.
We could take the turn, but
with
that seems dumb.
the stereotypical dude in the bath who's surprised when half of his house disappears.
Yeah.
It's very much a car after my own heart.
But yeah, it's eventually revealed. Like, we eventually get the reveal where, like, Hoto's basically, like, they're stuck in a town. And, this is after the whole canyon thing. Our heroes catch up to Gil and, like, at the start line, to quote Gil, and Hoto's basically wants to take them on and such, and like is explaining such, and Gil comes stomping out of the thing, like comes walking up to the kid, and like everyone's like, oh my god, Gil's gonna kill the kid, and he leans down and says, like, I'm sad too about what happened to your parents. Takes off his mask, and it's just this giant sweetheart of a dude. And like they say, yeah, we're not actually Gil. I'm not Gil the Butcher. My name's Tristan. That's my brother Chase. We're the bad brothers.
I'm just sick of playing Gil the Butcher. I just want to be myself.
We're doing the Gil the Butcher thing because he's nowhere near this, and it makes things a lot easier. If people assume I'm Gil the Butcher. Like, yeah, I heard what happened to your parents, and I'm really sorry about that, dude. I'm like, you need a hug, kid? What? I don't. Oh my god! Okay, fine, Tristan. Thank you. I can't argue with you hugging me because that's physically impossible.
Because you're 7 feet tall, 500 pounds, none of it fat.
And an utter sweetheart.
But yeah, because of the rules and everything, because everyone else got delayed by them blowing up the canyon, the way that the rules work is because it's a race, so that everyone doesn't just end up catching up with each other every time they get to a pit stop. It's like literally when you arrive, you can leave 8 hours after.
If you want to make use of one of the supply towns, if you decide to make use of it, you have to stay there 8 hours.
Yes.
You can choose not to use them.
So if, for example, your rivals arrive an hour before after you, then you've still got an hour head start when you leave.
Right.
Unless somebody dismantles your car.
Yeah, well, specifically, no. If they choose to use the pit stop, they don't have to. They can just keep going.
Yes.
You kind of have to use the pit stops.
You kind of have to. The cars can't go that far in this day and age. But yeah, so as a little bit of payback without being too nasty for trying to blow
basically,
the
they bring up the whole thing of the canyon, and like Chase, like, is it against the rules to do that? And the guy, I forgot the guy's name. Crap. Seth.
Seth.
Seth Carter's like, well, he was the representative of GM who's there, and he's like, well, looks at the rules. Technically, no. Well, then we're fine, aren't we? Fine. And so they have the whole confrontation thing, and then Appare comes walking up, sort of flipping a wrench in his head. Is like, what's up? He says, Mr. Chase, sir, yeah. Is it against the rules to dismantle your opponent's car? Technically, no. Didn't think so. TJ's like, Tristan's like, what? Their car falls apart at the starting line. They're like,
all right, we kind of deserve that. Fine.
Appare's literally like, yeah, that should take about 8 hours to fix. Because they've only just arrived. Like, literally, they've got an 8-hour head start on them. So it's like, yeah, that should take about 8 hours to fix.
I just love watching Operation nonchalantly sort of like spinning his wrench like it's a pistol and holstering it. It's just so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so good. Oh my god. So yeah, this is where we're introduced to Gil's actual people show up and basically butcher everybody ahead of them of our crew. Because they've been hired by the train companies to make sure this race fails. Because, trains are better than cars and we got to keep it that way. By the way, there's not at all a theme of, fear of progress in the show.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Fear of, the moving forward, fear of moving forward and things changing. That's not a theme in the show at all. That's the theme of the show, is overcoming the fear of change. Like that's
Yes.
literally what the show's about. It's actually really cool about that. So yeah, we get into the whole side, the actual sort of meat of the show where, they track down the guys who butchered the other racers, except all of them except for Richard, who's totally a nice guy and goes back to get the sheriff. Totally, that's totally what he's doing. Yep. He is not Gil the Butcher at all.
Nope.
Yeah. So yeah, they go and they confront Gil's men in this town, and so most of the group gets captured when they are surrounded by Gil's henchmen, and Cosme locks up and can't draw his sword, and they leave him alone and alive because yeah, he did the smart cowardly thing. Let him live with that. We're gonna hang everybody else, and so Cosme sort of wanders into the bar in town and has a chat with the lady bartender, who's awesome. And dear Lord, I wish she was in more of the show because she was actually kind of great.
Yeah, she was great.
And she basically asks him, "Why did you actually get strong?" And he's like, "I'm not strong." She looks at him like, "I can tell." He's like, "Well, I practiced swordsmanship so that I could because he explains to her the whole story, and she's like, "Okay, well." Yeah, she doesn't tell him what to do. He basically decides, well, I'm gonna have to go try to save my friends. And she's like, well, if you're gonna go try to do that, wheels out a bunch of shotguns. You need to borrow any guns? She's like, nope, this sword's all I'm gonna need. And this sword was all he was gonna need. So we actually see Cosme get by his combat paralysis and
schools these guys.
See, not how I mentioned Kurosawa earlier.
Yeah. It is every moment of Kurosawa's love of injecting samurais into Western movie themes.
Mm-hmm.
It is beautiful.
Like even some of the shots.
Oh yeah. Oh, no. There are a couple of that is a shot straight out of a Kurosawa film. Like holy crap, they actually replicated the way Kurosawa frames stuff. Beautiful. Oh, so good. And Hotaro's utterly confused by all of a sudden here's badass Cosme. Like, wait, what? But what? And he wants to have revenge on the guy who killed, because the guy who killed his dad's is the leader of this particular group of henchmen. And Cosme's like, look, kid, no, I'm not going to let you kill the guy. Well, why? Because you're a kid.
And it won't.
Kids shouldn't stain their hands with shit with things like this. That's what adults are for.
That's what adults are for. And he goes off and, he basically gives the guy a chance to surrender. The guy flatly tries to kill him back, and Cosme kills the dude. And it's not a fight. This is just not. It's not a fight.
They mention the combatants in the group are watching him fight. It's like, wow, he's actually he's dodging bullets because he can see where
they're aiming.
They're aiming.
Yeah, it's not that he's dodging the bullet. He's just anticipating. He's seeing where they're going to shoot and not being there.
Yeah, he even gets to the point where he does the stereotypical cutting a bullet in half thing.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Cosme is terrifying. And I will say this, his single most badass moment in the entire show in terms of, in a fight scene has literally nothing to do with how much he kicks ass with the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love Cosme. So, yeah, Gil eventually reveals who he is because he quits the race. Richard, a.k.a. Gil the Butcher, quits the race because this has gotten all too bad for him. Because they refuse to, because they decide we're not going to stop the race. So he was like, okay, well, my job is to stop the race. So he gets on the train, uses the train to block the bridge that the racers are going to go over, kidnaps Sophia, and kicks all their asses and shoots up their cars so they can't continue the race. And
blows
then
up the
demands
bridge.
the entire prize purse as ransom for the important people on the train.
Yep.
Because, the train wants to prove that, prove that the trains are more important. It's like Gil's like that's all bullshit. The only thing that matters is strength and power and the ability to inflict harm on other people. And this is my proof of that. And that's never going to change, no matter how technology changes. This is the truth of the world.
Yeah. Notice the theme.
Yeah. What? No. Yeah.
It's also established before all of this just how ruthless and cavalier Gil is, because he's getting chewed out by the guys that hired him, the train guys on the train in a dining car. Gil's just like, picks the dude out, throws him out of the moving train.
Yep.
Here's the other guy. So I'm in charge now.
Yeah.
Well, Gil has this thing where he'll give you one warning. And it's typically like, I don't like I don't like people giving me orders. The dude tried to tell him to do something again, threw him at the train.
Yep.
He's one of those, I'll tell you once. He kills at one point he kills his own men because he says, okay, I don't like these people, go kill them. And through just the simple fact that they're all badasses and they're too good for this henchman he sends out, he says, boss, I need to let you, they've taken thing. Didn't I tell you to kill them? Well, yeah, but bang.
Yeah. So, yeah, big fight scene, and, Appare is basically having none of Gil's shit because, and, Gil's like, okay, look, I don't like you talking shit to me. I'm giving you a warning. Appare continues, and it's basically, so Gil shoots him, and Kosame takes the bullet for him.
Yeah.
And Gil's like, all right, since that dude died for you, I'll let you live this time, kid. Bye. And Appare's like, what? Why? What? Q Zhanling coming in is like, someone's got to stop the bleeding. Holy shit. Zhanling is great. So yeah, Kosume's bleeding out. This is, by the way, Kosume basically just being a stone cold badass. So it looks like they might have actually killed Kosume off. They didn't.
Spoilers, but yeah.
It's established early on that Kosume's got something of a healing factor.
Yes. Also, he's fine in the next episode, Gav.
Well, yeah, but yeah. They leave it on enough of a cliffhanger where it's like, we were like, did they?
Yeah, we weren't sure. And then they revealed, no, he's not dead. It's like, oh, okay, fine.
But the thing about it is, Kosume's final words to Appare is, "Don't let anyone stop you. Keep pushing forward," kind of situation. Change is good. Blah blah blah, all that kind of thing.
Well, the big thing is, he asked him why he did it. It's because you're my hope, dude. You are like a living embodiment of moving forward. You're what it labels and
it is a big turning point for Appare.
Oh yeah, the whole next episode of Appare trying to figure out why the fuck did Kosume do that.
It's also the first bit where, like I say, because of the way that he was beforehand, he didn't really care if he damaged other people's shit. He didn't really bother. He wasn't interested in other people's feelings. Consequences didn't happen to Appare. Even when he got put in prison, he'd just walk out, whatever. And concern for others didn't happen to Appare, and
well, the first thing when he stopped to when they were looking for Hototo, he actually delayed his start for and he's like, it's like during the episode after Kosume is shot, he's saying, "Why did I stop for Hototo? That was the wrong decision. It is illogical. Why am I waiting for what?" He doesn't understand why he's reacting the way he is, because it's not. None of this is logical. What's going on? He doesn't get it.
Yeah, my goal is to win the race. This is hurting my chances of winning the race. Why am I doing this?
And it's sort of it's one of the few times where Appare has had to deal with actual consequences.
Yeah.
2, it's him sort of coming to terms with holy shit, these people are my friends and I care about them. That's never happened before. How do I handle this? How do I admit to this? I What?
What is going on? What am I feeling? Dude,
Why do I have human feelings?
Yeah, right. It's exactly that's. It's him realizing that he actually cares, and he doesn't understand. Like he's never thought about that before. It's like it's very clear throughout the course of the show he does care about people, but he doesn't think about it. It doesn't really occur to him. It's not something that's it's not surface level for him, and like because it's clear he does actually care about Kosume throughout most of the show. It's just he's really bad at showing it.
Well, like I said, it's that part of the it's that thing where you don't realize, that the reaction is due. If you know what I mean, it's like you
Right.
don't respond to those situations because it doesn't occur to you at the time. It's like, I failed to bring up an example, but I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's happened to me a few times. This is why I keep mentioning the autism thing. I've been tested.
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned this before, but I've been tested for this because I do have situations where things happen. I mean, I work in bereavement.
Right.
And I can get through that because it doesn't really... I say, I'm sorry for your loss, and it made me sound like a monster. I say, I'm sorry for your loss, because it's part of my script.
Right.
It wouldn't occur to me otherwise to say that kind of thing.
Right.
And then with some people, that's just how it is. It's not that they're cold or,
right. No,
or
totally.
mean or anything like that. It just literally does not pop into their head to react how some people think people should react.
Yep. No, as I said, that's actually the reason I'm really interested in rewatching this with the possibility of Appare actually being on the spectrum. Like, that just didn't occur to me when I was watching it because he comes off surface level as your archetypical tech bro.
Yeah.
And, like, thinking about it now, it's like, that's actually an interesting read to look at it. I should actually rewatch it with that read. That might make me like him a lot more.
The thing that triggered it for me, the thing that made me realize is his habit. He has a habit of, once he starts working, he's obsessed with it. Like, he will literally walk, like, he walks into the BMW pit and starts just gets under the car and starts having a look around.
Right.
Doesn't ask permission. There's no boundary. There's nothing there. He's just like saying, "I want to look at that," and goes and has a look.
Yep.
And will sit in the warehouse and work and work and work.
Yep.
Only stopping for food until he decides, I'm really tired, and falls asleep there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wakes up, starts again.
No, as I said, I really think I need to rewatch this with that thought in mind. I think that will actually significantly change my read on him. Like, literally, you saying that, it's like, oh shit, I didn't think about that read. That's actually a really important read. Huh. At any rate, yeah, so...
It was insightful.
It was!
That never happened.
Yeah, but, so, Appare realizes exactly how much Kosume actually means to him. It's like, holy fuck, it's his brother, like, dying there. Just like, he does not know how to handle it. And so, Hotaru eventually finds him and says, like, oh my god, it's Kosume. And he comes running back, and Kosume's there in bed, cloth over his face, and you can see Appare's like, oh god, no. And then Kosume sort of blows the thing up into the air. It's like, gotcha, didn't I? It's like, oh, he so deserves that.
Yeah.
He deserves it, but oh. Oh god, I
Now, throughout this episode, Appare has basically been in this. He's given up at this point. Because of the consequences, he actually said, "I don't care about the race. I'm going to dismantle the car, or just I'm not going to fix the car because fuck it. It's
pointless.
It's pointless." And it's actually visiting. And this is where Kosume is at his strongest. It's not he's a badass in a fight, but that's not where he is. He's the heart of this team.
Oh god, yes. No, this is the moment I was actually talking about.
Yes. And the speech that he gives, saying, you know what, Appare, he explains to Appare, look, you are trying to push forward. You are progress. The reason I'm alive is because of people like you. Look at all this. And he's pointing at, I mean, again, this is turn of the century sort of science, but there's an IV drip. A blood transfusion.
Yep.
All this kind of stuff that is, cutting edge for the time. And he's like, I'm alive because of people like you thinking of shit like this. You are the future. You are the way forward.
Yeah.
People like Gil are desperately trying to cling on to what they've lost. That's why they don't want change, because they are irrelevant if the world changes around them. They're incapable of change. You are driving change.
Literally, it's like Gil already lost because of shit like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you glorious, glorious man, Cosme, I love you. That scene was just like, oh, mwah!
Yes.
And this is where Appare-Ranman's like, yeah, fuck it, we are fixing everything. The race is going to continue because fuck that asshole. First, we're gonna get Sophia back. Then we'll finish the race.
Then we'll finish the race.
It's like, and he even says, he comes back to the group, and they're all kind of in the same mind. You know, Seth is on the verge of like just saying, you know, that's it. Okay, the race is over. I mean, all the cars are broken, and Appare is like, no, I'm gonna fix them.
Well, Al is like, yeah, I don't care about the race right now. I'm getting Sophia back.
Well, yeah,
he's like, if we can't fix the car, I'll get a fucking horse.
Yeah.
And then Appare comes in and says, like, we're going to work together. We're going to fix all this shit. I'm going to help. I'm going to make sure the cars all get fixed. We're going to go kick Gil's ass and get Sophia back. And then we're going to finish this goddamn fucking race. Because fuck Gil and fuck the... It doesn't say fuck Gil, but, you know, that's...
Yeah.
Because...
The thing I always like about Appare, though, he says, I'm going to fix everyone else's cars. What about yours? Well, mine's going to evolve.
Yeah. Because his car's been changing the entire race.
It starts off as a steam engine because he hasn't had time to actually look at a combustion engine enough to actually build one into the car.
It's a hybrid by the end.
By the end, it's a hybrid, combustion engine / steam engine. And some of the other engineers, and even Seth himself, is like, "Wait, what? That's not physically possible. Come and have a look." No. And it turns out that this is a great little bit for Seth. I mean, he's such a minor character, but has that little bit there that just gives you enough to care about him.
Yep. Yeah, well, the thing is, Seth is an executive who's worked his way up from being an engineer and sees being an engineer as something almost shameful because engineers don't get paid shit.
And he was treated like crap. He was treated like crap by his bosses.
Yes, it's more that basically engineers, like pie in the sky sort of engineers with like imagination, all that. He's been beaten into him that they're
the bottom line's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, stop with the ideas. It doesn't matter. Just fix the cars. That's all you're there to do. You're there to build, and the designs of people who've gone through other things. Because back in the day, he had this idea. Like Appare calls him out because he says, "Okay, I really like Al's car, but it seems a little inefficient. There's a huge space of just like dead air in there for no reason."
It's Dylan's car.
Dylan's car, sorry, yeah. And you see him tense up for a second, and you have a flashback, and it turns out that he actually had a
turbocharger, basically.
Well, no, it's fuel. From what he's describing, it's basically fuel injection.
That's right. Yeah, that's what it was.
He invented fuel injection, and the guy, the boss, is saying, "Yeah, but how much is it going to cost?" And it's like, "Well, yeah, the parts are expensive. Then take it out." So they didn't have time to redesign the engine or the car. He just literally took that mechanism out. So there's now a huge space which Appare noticed, and it gives you that little insight into even him, who's just a kind of a background character and comes across as an asshole. But now we know why he's an asshole, and like he rejects any inclination that he might have been an engineer at any time, because
until the very end of this bit here, where he basically he pitches, he's like, "Fuck it, I'm pitching in."
Well, I mean, this is the thing. Like Appare is like describing his he dismissed this again. Appare's attitude to people who are non-mechanics. He starts describing this thing, and he's like, I could go further into detail, but obviously, it wouldn't matter to you. You don't understand it.
You're not an engineer.
Yeah, and he's like, wait, you're doing hybrid fuel hybrid power source running off two engines? He goes, oh, you do understand.
Oh, you are an engineer. No, I'm not.
Like, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not. I'm not an engineer. No, stop saying that. Well, if you're not an engineer, then if you're not an engineer, then I'm not interested in talking to you right now. Bye.
Yeah.
But you come back here. So yeah, the big fight happens. The big sort of invade the Gil's fortress thing happens. They break off into pairs. They all meet up with his top end henchmen in each pair, and we get to see people kicking ass. Zhongling just utterly wrecks the other female character.
Yeah.
I was watching that fight and I was like, yeah, because Gil's group has had this one woman who has been hanging out in it, and it turns out she's a knife fighter.
And she's scary. Like, she's legit scary.
She's like yeah, she's scary, sort of like, you know, she likes those blades a little bit too much.
Yep.
And Jing pulls out a staff, and I'm like, oh well, she's got the reach on you. You're fucked. Then the staff breaks apart.
No, that's what she says. Oh, you're not gonna get near me with fighting with a girly weapon like that. To which we're all like, okay, that's not a girly weapon.
Sure.
No, it's actually a 3-part staff. Oh,
it's a 3-part staff, and it's like, oh, you're fucked.
But no, I will give credit to the knife woman. She actually cuts the staff, and Shelly's like, okay, fuck it. I'll fight you barehanded. And
yeah, I mean, when we say knife, we mean Bowie knife.
Yeah.
You know, these
are
are not,
and she fights the
not,
pair of them.
Yeah. So, like, she actually cuts through the staff, and, like, Zing's like, fine, all right, then.
Boot to the head.
Switches gears.
Yeah, and boot to the head is not quite right. Neither the fucking chin.
Yeah, it's like literally like she stabs towards her, and it looks like she's actually got her until they fucking after image, and Zing's not there.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's beautiful.
It's knee to the face, fucking short fists, you know, thrusting elbows, and a final boot to the chin.
It is a perfect Wing Chun flurry. It's beautiful.
Yes, yeah. It's like, sit your ass down.
Oh my god.
And Jing's like, literally like, how the hell am I ever going to say, you know, have respect for myself as a woman racer if I not only can't stand up for myself, but I'm going to take shit like that from someone who takes orders?
Yeah.
I
love her. Love her. She's great. Yeah.
Oh, that one scene alone. I want that film. I want that entire series.
Oh my god. Chase pulls a Clint Eastwood with the boilerplate bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
At one point, like, there's all these great
Tristan
little bits.
Is an absolute fucking monster.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah. Chase pulls the like a primitive squid, and like he gets shot, and he like has the most dramatic death, and we're all like, he's not dead. He was laying on the ham. There's no way he's dead.
And he's not, because he did that to trick the guy going back to Gil, so he could follow him and find Gil. Because Chase is smart. Tristan is meanwhile fighting the giant bruiser dude who likes throwing dynamite.
Dynamite, yeah. And there's a great bit where, like, the dude's got Tristan in a headlock, and he's just punching him in the face. And you just see, he's like, "Why are you hurting my friend?" It's like, Tristan, do you not feel this?
Nope.
Before German suplexed him through. Well, no, actually, sorry, no. He basically starts pushing and drives him through multiple buildings into a solid rock wall before hitting him with a German suplex.
Yes.
It's like, okay, he's done.
Oh god, I want to mention one amazing bit before we go further. That with nothing plot-wise, it's during the hot spring episode, which is hilarious. The whole thing. Because the only people who are actually not wearing clothes during any of it are Appare and Gosame because they're Japanese.
Yep.
They come out naked. That's what happens. That's how it works in Japan. Everyone else in bathing suits, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we screwed up."
You know the funny thing that I noticed in that scene is
because it's a mixed bathing scene where everybody's in their swimsuits. The women all get to look at completely nude Kosame and.
That's the thing that made me laugh. It's like, you know, it's not that typical. This is the sort of anime it is. It's not the typical, oh my god, and covering their face. Like, Sophia and Jing have both come out of the dressing room together. Those two come out naked, and you see that everyone just pause for a moment, and then you see the two girls look down.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
I mean.
There's this, so Tristan and Hototo have become like fast friends.
Yes.
Over all of this.
Oh yeah.
There's a bit where Tristan is just hucking Hototo through the air into the pool, and at some point, and it wakes up TJ, who's been napping in the pool. He's like, "Oh, that's awesome! Do me,
dude, Tristan, throw me in the air! Whee!" That was the thing I wanted to mention is TJ getting flung by Tristan because that is so glorious.
Doing poses as he barrel rolls through the air. Yes.
So yeah, our heroes all basically clown they take out all the henchmen, and they confront Gil, and they eventually come with a plan to negate, because Gil is more badass than any one of them individually.
Yeah.
But Kosume is just good enough to stop Gil from actually being able to shoot anybody if they hide behind him.
Yep.
So their plan is Kosume will deflect bullets, deflect bullets by being Kosume until Gil has to reload. Then we'll try to fight him, and then when he reloads, we get behind Kosume again. And this mostly works, but they're not actually making progress. Basically, until finally TJ and
TJ
show up,
slaughter their way through the henchmen onto the door
because they came into the front and had to wait through the army.
Yeah, everyone else went around the back and dealt with the generals, while TJ and Dylan basically went through the front door and distracted everyone of all the grunts.
So they get there, it's like, okay, you guys, take Sophia, get out of here, get back to the race. We'll handle Gil. And Gil's like, ha, I kicked your asses before. Yeah, we weren't working together before.
Yeah. There is a great bit when they first walk in, and it's something like, guys, just put your guns down and leave, and we'll call it at that. And they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, they say that to the army, and the army's like, we're gonna shoot them. They're like, oh, you poor dumb bastards.
Yeah.
Then you're all gonna die. So yeah, and so what happens at that point is our heroes go to stop the train bomb that's gonna go driving to Chicago and blow up Chicago with Sophia on board, which happened. So that is their plan.
That turns out Gil's plan, yeah. So basically, he's not bothered actually about the race as such. He's taken their money because that's what he was employed to do. But his actual plan is he's basically filled the train full of dynamite and is sending it into Chicago Station full speed ahead with no brakes.
Because he's making a demonstration of his power and how his strength and power and the ability to inflict harm is what matters in this world. Nothing else does. Mm-hmm. And nobody can stop him. Bwahaha, bwahaha, bwahaha. Oh, look, Appare stopped him. Appare stops the train, and Dylan and TJ finally beat him.
Yeah, the thing is about how he stops him, though.
I don't want to spoil that. Yeah. That has to be seen to be believed. And it's glorious.
Yeah, okay.
It's dumb, but it's glorious. But I do love the bit, basically, where they finally got Gil beaten, and TJ's like, okay, I'm going to shoot him. And Dylan's like, nah, we're going to turn over to the cops. Why? Because the world's got to change, dude. We got to be better. And TJ's like, fuck.
Fine, I guess.
And they're putting him in the truck, and Gil's like, you're going to regret this. I'm going to escape. And they just slam the truck closed on him as he's renting. It's so good.
There's a bit between Dylan and TJ I want to talk about, actually,
yes,
before all of this happens.
Yep.
So Dylan and TJ have a past. They used to be droogs. They used to go around doing stuff. And Dylan is all
They used to go around robbing banks together, basically.
Yeah. And Dylan used to have a girl, someone he loved. And he carries around her lockout all the time. And it turns out that the reason they had a falling out was because TJ was also in love with this girl. So they had a fight. And they're sitting there on the roof getting drunk after having just gotten their ass kicked by Gil the first time. And Dylan's like, probably alive if I just let you steal her away. TJ slugs him and goes,
no, if you'd won that fight and kept and gotten her instead of me, and yes,
he's like, fuck you, she chose you, I lost, the fight was just to make me feel better because she chose you.
Like, don't you insult her by saying that who won that fight would have taken her. That's bullshit. You should know that. Yeah. She loved you and you know it. Fuck you.
And literally, that is.
I love TJ. That was one of my favorite teachers. Like, that's like, yeah, okay, TJ, you rock. That's awesome.
That was the big confirmation for TJ that he's actually they're just different sides of the same fucking coin.
Yeah.
These two. They're one's the stoic, one's the flamboyant. They're the same fucking person.
Yeah.
They're both heart of gold.
Yeah.
It's just a case of TJ is he's a troll.
Yeah.
He's
just a giant goofball and just has lots of fun being the center of attention.
Yeah. Like literally, there's one scene between the two where they're both driving, and they're side by side, and TJ is just trying everything he can to annoy Dylan. That's all he's doing. He's got his music on full blast. He's singing along to it, and Dylan's like, "Can you please stop?" What?
You don't like the song? The song's great. The song's fine. Your singing sucks.
Yeah, he's like, come on, Dance with me. Sing along. Come on. And you just see Dylan's window wind up.
She's like, oh, so good. But yeah, that wraps up. So that after that episode, that's the end of the last episode. The final episode is the end of the race.
Yes.
And the climax of the race is great and hilarious. And our heroes, Team Appare finally wins at the end through shenanigans. All of which, every single thing that they pull is something they've been hinting is possible throughout the entire course of the show. So it is not even remotely an ass pull. It is the culmination of everything they've been setting up the entire show with the car. It's great.
Yeah.
It is fan-fucking-tastic. I love it.
I mean, it's still an ass pull, but it's stuff that's all because it has no reason it could work.
Oh, no, it shouldn't work. It's technobabble, Eric.
It's absolute pure cartoon technobabble.
Yes. And, by the way, second place, Jeanlin. Jeanlin.
Yeah.
Jeanlin actually pulls off second place because she's that damn good. Literally, Appare breaking the laws of physics is the only thing that beats her.
Yeah. And I mean, they're all pretty much neck and neck. It's like
it is real fucking close.
Almost everyone is like on that, but apart from the Bad Brothers, because they've got an old fucking chonker.
Because you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna take the money we took off of Gil and just drive around.
Yeah. But the other three, TJ, Dylan, and Jing, they're neck and neck, and it's Appare
and Al's right there with them.
Sorry, yes, yeah. And it's Appare, like say, breaking the laws of physics. And it, about and a 70-year advancement in technology, but
it's so good. And then we get sort of the final bit of the show, like the closing bit, where everybody sort of goes their separate ways. And Appare basically tells Cosme is excited if they won the money, they can go back home now. And Appare's like, dude, I'm not going back. I can't. There are too many things I want to do here, and I can't do them back in Japan. I want to fly. I want to build a fucking airplane because the Wright brothers just flew in Kitty Hawk. I'm going to fucking do this. I'm going to fly across the goddamn ocean. And then I'm going to go to the moon. And Kosume's like, okay, I'll let people know. And, Kosume, and so they have a little thing, and, Kosume and, they have the little split up with Jeanlin, who's going back to California to race because, she can now. She's going to go have her own adventures, and it's very clear. It's like, yeah, we'd love to keep hanging out, but we have our own lives and our own things to do. If we ever see each other again, we'll definitely hang because we're friends now. Which is it's really cool. They handled it very well. I loved it.
Yeah.
And like it boils down to Appare realizing that he doesn't want. It's very clear during the whole thing exchange that he doesn't want Kosume to go, but he can't tell him. And Hotato basically points this out to him, and Hota's like, fuck, why did I just tell him I don't want him to go? What the hell's wrong with me? So he goes running off the boat and sees the boat sailing off, and he's like he's just sort of ranting and so he's shouting about how much he's going to miss him, and it's like, he really wished he'd been able to tell him he wanted to go, and then it pans around to behind, you can see behind him, there's Kosume standing behind him, and he looks at, oh, you're there, yeah, how long were you there? Well, from the beginning.
Yeah, from the start.
Oh. And he's like, yeah, I realized I didn't want to leave either, and I'll just send him a letter. That's like a thing we can do. Mostly I wanted to let my family know I'm okay, and yeah, I just realized I could just send a letter and still hang out with you. Because, I would love to go back to Japan, but I also kind of like hanging out with you. You're like my best friend, and there's not a lot for me back in Japan other than, yeah, my sister will be fine, and my fiance probably has gotten married because I've been gone for a year, and they assumed I was dead, so she's probably married. And I didn't actually know her, so why don't we stay here? And
big a loss.
And I'm sure my sister will be fine. Actually, because she's my goddamn sister. I know how badass she is on her own. Dad will be fine. Yeah. Someone's got to keep you from
wealthy men.
Someone's got to stop you from doing something really stupid with your airplane. Because dude, you're gonna do something that's you need someone to keep you at least a little bit grounded. And we get to see the letters back in Japan, Kosume's sister and Appare's sister are sitting next to each other because she's like reads off like Kosume's letter, and she's like, and Appare-san's like, oh thank God, Kosume's okay. Also, that's great. All I got from Appare was this, and it's this giant thing that just says Appare okay on it.
Holy crayon.
Because like explains what he's like, because Kosume explains like, yeah, he's gonna build an airplane and all this stuff. And it's like, okay. And that's basically Appare-Ranman. I mean, it's a giant bundle of goofiness and fun with an actual like serious message in the middle of it. So yeah. I guess we'll move into final thoughts. It's me, then Eric, then Gav, because this was Gav's suggestion.
Yay.
So, final thought. I loved the show. This show was a lot of fun. Like, as I said, I thought my take on Appare is the main character. He was least interesting of it, a very interesting cast to me. And this is not really a knock on Appare. And I think I may have misread, as I said earlier, I think I misread him a bit watching the show. I kind of wrote him off as just your typical sort of, I think there's more nuance to him than I thought there was, and I want to rewatch it to see if that's the case, and I'm going to do that at some point. I fucking adore Kosume. He is like legit one of my favorite characters. He's my favorite character of the show by a non-inconsiderable margin, and I really like most of the cast. Like, holy crap, they're great. It's really well voice acted, unsurprisingly. The animation is good. The art design is fucking incredible. Like, jeez, the character designs are spot. Like, the setting is well done. The way they frame shots is great. Eric can talk more about the actual animation quality. The sound design is great. The score is fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
And I love the characters. Like, again, like, Appare was my least favorite character, and I think he's a great character, even with my not getting quite the right read on him initially. So, like, I thought he was still a good character. It's just that I thought everyone else just outshone him, and that's not really his fault. And because, like, holy cow, there's some bigger than life characters in this show.
Yeah, there are.
Honestly, thinking back on it, I think Al might be the weakest character, and I like Al. But, like, he's sort of, like, the one we had least to say about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This show's great. Go watch it if you haven't, or if you have, rewatch it. Like, it's just good. Thumbs up. And it's a quick watch, too. So, Would I like to see a sequel series where focusing on Appare building a flying machine? Goddamn, yes, I would.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
Because then they end up in the transatlantic air race.
Be so good. Wacky air races. Come on.
Get the pigeon, but anime.
And good, and not terrible.
Not craptastic Hanna-Barbera animation.
Yeah. And also, like, again, I want to echo Gav's sentiment. I want a show about Zhang-Lin. I want a show about her, like, now.
Yes.
Just
like
driving cross country on her way back to San Francisco, righting wrongs and fighting the good fight.
And being goddamn adorable the whole way. Like, she's...
Yeah.
God, I love her. She's great. She is one of the most... She is... God, I love her. Like, again, like, her and Sophia are both just fantastic characters, but, like, she's just... Zhang-Lin has just more to work with, because she's a bigger, more important character of the series, so... But yeah, go watch. Good. Also, I want the Wacky Adventures of the Bad Brothers. Like, I want that also.
Yes.
Because Tristan is great. Chase is a great counterpoint to Tristan, but goddamn, I love Tristan. He is adorable.
He's a sweetheart.
So, Eric.
All right. So this show is all kinds of fun. Like, it was great. It is well animated. It's not going to knock your teeth out with, like, crazy awesome set piece animation or anything like that, but it's animated better than it needed to be. And does a good job of integrating the CG cars with everything else. Like, to the point you don't even really notice they're CG most of the time. It's not jarring the way it can be in other shows. But yeah, this is just a God-spacking just load of fun. It is just, you will watch every episode and end up with a smile on your face. Like, it is just fun, and I can't recommend just. It's not super deep. It's got depth if you want to go plumbing for it, but it's not necessary for the enjoyment of the show. You can just watch like Kosame and Appare and Naoto all playing off of each other. You can watch fucking TJ just steal every scene he's in because he does. Like, as far as like favorite characters go, I have to give it to TJ just because he's just this giant goofball, and you get exactly the right amount of him.
Yep,
Like much more, and you'd probably start wearing on your nerves, but not so little that you're like, why aren't we getting more TJ?
But he's not a character we wanted like a series about on his own. Is the thing.
He's not.
No.
He is the guy that shows up for like 3 episodes in all the other series we
Yes.
talked about.
Yes. Oh yeah, we want TJ cameos in all these shows.
We want TJ cameos all the time, but we don't want an entire series of TJ.
Right.
TJ's like Wolverine. He is the mustard to everyone else's sandwich. And yeah, isn't really a character I don't like. Like even Al, I'm fine with Al.
Oh, he's fine.
Like,
Yeah. I don't think Al's
him...
a bad character. He's just the least.
He's the most ordinary. I mean, the thing with Al is
he's
part of a two-piece to make him interesting, I think.
Yeah, he absolutely needs Sophia with him to make him interesting, and he's just overshadowed by all these gigantic, bigger-than-life characters that are parts of the show.
Yep.
Like, even Dylan, who's like the most like stereotypical, like, I'm in my early 30s, badass ex-special forces protagonist, like, he oozes that.
He's got a real charisma about him too, actually.
But he's actively kind of interesting, and yeah,
like I've said, Dylan would fit in a the police line with fucking Spike Spiegel, Vasha Stampede, and
I just don't find him nearly as interesting as Spike or
no, because he's not a main character, but his design, his look, his general like attitude, his concept.
He's standard deuteragamist is what he is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? He's still I still find him more interesting than Al, who is in his own right an interesting character. He's just overshadowed by all these better done characters. And yeah, Zhao Ling is she's amazing. She's great. The only reason she doesn't take she isn't my favorite female character because Sophia drinks TJ under the table. And any girl that could do that gets automatic 15 cool points. The end.
So I just want to mention one thing. A part of the reason Dylan works as well as he does is the guy who does his voice acting is goddamn incredible.
Yes. So the voice acting is great.
Yeah,
across
but
the
I just want to say
show.
He's voice acted by Takahiro Sakurai, who is most notably known for playing Suzuku Kuragi from Code Geass, and a few other people here and there. That's the one we knew him best from, but he's played a bunch of other big name characters all over the place. What was the other major one he played? I forget. But yeah, that's one that I'm just quickly looking through his list. Oh yeah, right. God, there was something else. He was actually really important. Oh right, yeah. He's crap. Hang on, let me see if I find it. Where is it?
I mean, it doesn't really. Honestly, it doesn't really matter because he does a great job in the show we're talking about.
Oh yeah, but my point is he's played a bunch of really cool characters that we've liked. He was Fareed McGillis in Iron-Blooded Orphans.
That's where it. Yep, I knew I heard him somewhere.
But yeah, he does a great job with Dylan, and yeah, I like this show. Everyone should watch this show. Yes. You should watch the show. That's my opinion.
This is one of those shows that is right. It's the sort of show that I would write if I had any kind of talent. It has a really cool premise and an overarching thing that will draw people in when you say this is basically wacky racers across the USA at the turn of the century with samurai and whatever else, and that kind of premise, and it's cool. But at its heart, it's also about the characters. It's the character piece, which makes the whole point of it. Like even little bits that we haven't gone through. Like there's one bit that sticks to mind, and it always points out like there's this bit where it's between the three main guys, Appare, Kasami, and Hototo, and Hototo is quite often found fishing off the edge of the dock because that's what he does. And Kasami at one point tries to go and help, and Kasami, and Hototo tells him, you can't, you're not smart enough to fish. The fish are smarter than you. You're being too loud. You're not going to catch anything. And he catches like some small thing. Meanwhile, Hototo's caught like 8 fish in the same sort of thing. And it's Kasami trying to bond with Hototo and all this kind of stuff. And a little bit later on, we have the similar sort of scene, except it's Appare decides to come out and try his hand at fishing, and Hototo looks at him and goes, "Okay, you're intelligent enough. Yeah, you should be able to do this. No problem.
You're at least smarter than a fish."
Yeah, you're smarter than a fish. So he sits down to fish, and then you just hear "badunch, sploosh." And he's like, "What are you using as bait?" And Appare's like, "Potato." Yeah, that makes sense.
I was like, oh god. Oh, they're both idiots. In different ways.
And it's these little character moments that I always will just latch onto in a series. It's like if you can convince me that this drawing, this thing, it has a personality and a character behind it, and individual. They're not just people saying lines. These are fully fleshed out characters, personalities, all that kind of stuff, and they are they have their own uniqueness and react in a way where real people would react. That's me sold. And the character work between these people, like I said, this is why I latched onto the whole handling of the signs of the times sort of situation, because it was dealt with in a very human way. It wasn't that, I mean, in some cases, yeah, the asshole got the comeuppance. In a lot of cases, unfortunately, it was a case of grit your teeth, just get on with things. You're only going to get in more trouble if you do something. Yes, he's an asshole. Let him live with being an asshole. And it's that sort of real reaction that actually I thought, that's actually really well done. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of those shows. I know it got a lot of attention. A lot of people were like, yeah, okay, this is one to see. This is one I would really recommend. This is like one I would show people who are new to anime just to see, this is what anime can do. Because at the end of the day, it's a character piece on par with anything you're going to find on TV in live action. Anything like in the movies, that kind of stuff. It just happens to be a cartoon. You could quite easily, like we keep mentioning Cannonball Run and that kind of thing. You could quite easily do this as a live action. And yeah, I'm waffling now, but yeah, this is definitely one that many thumbs up. Go watch this now.
Cool. All right, so that's a major 3 thumbs up from us, guys. Go watch it. We loved it. It's fun. So that's going to do it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will be back in probably not too long because my next series selection is also a somewhat short one. We're continuing with our sort of shows that are fun and entertaining, and and one that I've watched most of but need to finish and really keep meaning to get back to and have it, and I really want to. So we're going to be doing Hinamatsuri.
Hooray!
Because I got to finish that goddamn show, and this will force me to finish it finally. So we'll be watching a show about a young kid with immense psychic powers having to deal with the real world. Sort of. And it's a comedy. Yeah, it's like Mob Psycho, but not... The main character is not as moral a person, let's just put it that way.
Oh.
And it is played more for laughs. That's not saying a whole lot. Mob is a very moral person. Hina, Well, we'll see. Let's just say she's adopted by someone who is well, he's in the Yakuza, so you know.
Right, so they didn't get the good Regan, they got the bad Regan.
Sorta? You'll see.
We'll
Anyways,
find out.
that's gonna do it for this week, guys. Hinamatsu next time. We'll be back in a few weeks. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.